Well, that chili was good. Hello there, good people. Hi, it's Jason with greencountryagroforestry, and we're just kind of snowed in right here in northeastern Oklahoma. I've got my grow tent closed up with the heater on underneath of it. The lights are going. The plants are doing fine in there, but that's not what we're here for today. Today, I'm going to talk about something that we grow here in Oklahoma that you might want to grow wherever you are. Let me get these guys out of here. And I'm talking about redbud trees. So the Eastern Redbud, or Cerci Canadensis, is a nitrogen-fixing tree, a pioneer species, which is the state tree of Oklahoma. And a little bit earlier this year, before the snow started falling, I collected these seed pods that have fallen from the tree, opened up a few of them, and got these little tiny seeds, which are about the size of a tick, and they have a very, very hard seed coat. Well, I don't know if you were watching whenever I got these oregano seeds started. When was that? The 7th. Today is the 16th, so 9 days ago. Yes, they're germinating quite well. Yeah. But I talked a little bit about how certain seeds had particular requirements for germination. In the case of these herb seeds, the lavender and oregano, mint, which are over here, all of them require light to germinate, and of course moisture. That's a fairly fairly common germination requirement. But other seeds have other requirements, and redbud seeds are a little bit different because they require not only stratification, which is a period of cold. There's the mint. Let's see it sprouting in there. Not only do they require a period of cold, they also require a little bit of extra help breaking down their seed coats. Now, in nature, this would occur if they were digested by a bird and pass through the bird's digestive system. The bird will fly somewhere, land, and complete their digestive process, meaning the seed is passed all the way through the digestive tract and is excreted, which is a great way of spreading seeds around. There are a lot of berries that get spread this way. Ooh, some nice root development happening on those cuttings. All right, so that's a nice way to get your seeds spread around. And for seeds of that nature, the typical treatment would be a 30-minute soak in some sulfuric acid. Ew, right? Why would you would use sulfuric acid and not say hydrochloric acid? That hydrochloric acid would make more sense to me. But typically they'll start them in sulfuric acid. This one is lavender. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 7 sprouted so far. 7. I was hoping to have about 72, but these are slow. And I pulled these out of the refrigerator a little bit sooner than I probably should have. They require a little bit longer stratification period than I gave them, but we got some of them to sprout. That'll get at least a few plants started. I'll have to start up a new plat here in a day or two, I suppose. But if you don't want to play with acid, and I don't blame you for not wanting to play with acid, then there is another way to do it, and I'll show you that here in a minute. Okay, but I told you there was a way that we could take these little seeds with their hard little coats and help degrade that coat so that the redbud can go ahead and break through and start growing, even without passing through the digestive system of an animal. And that trick is boiling water. And well, let me go ahead and set up a few things, and I'll show you. All right, so I've gone ahead and removed the pod from around the rest of these seeds. They look mostly viable. There might be a dud or two in there. And I just took an old container that used to have some cottage cheese in it, which is what this lid is actually, and I'm just going to put those seeds on in there. All right, so now I've got them inside the container, and over here I have a pot that I just boiled some water in. I'm just going to pour this boiling hot water over the seeds, just like that. Now, I see a few of them have floated to the surface. Those are probably not good. I'll go ahead and get this camera pointed down in there. So there'll be a couple that float to the surface. Those probably are not going to make it. The ones that fell down to the bottom are most likely going to be good. And there we go. So I'm reading on the University of Iowa homepage about starting redbud seeds, and you could read it there too if you like. That aside from using a sulfuric acid solution, another way that you can break down the seed coat is to soak them in boiling water for 1 minute. So while these are soaking, let me put them over here to the side. While those are soaking, I'm going to take a minute and talk a little bit about nitrogen-fixing trees, pioneer trees, which is, of course, what the redbud is. A nitrogen-fixing tree or a plant or shrub is one that forms an association with rhizobium bacteria at the root level. The atmosphere is about, some 80% nitrogen, but your plants and trees can't use that nitrogen straight out of the atmosphere. But those bacteria can pull the nitrogen from the atmosphere and exchange a usable form of nitrogen in the form of nitrates with your plants in exchange for sugars that the plants produce. And redbuds actually do produce a fair amount of sugar. As a matter of fact, early on in the year, whenever the flowers first come out, if you go out there and you pick those flowers and eat them, you'll discover they're quite sweet. Yes, they're edible. You can eat them all the way up until the flower disappears and the little tiny newly formed pods are standing on their own. After the pods are there with no flower at all attached to them, they have a tendency to get a bit tough, and at that point the only way you can eat them is to roast the seeds. I might do a video about that sometime in the future. Do you think it's been about a minute yet? Counter. Our seeds have been soaking for about a minute or so in that hot boiling water. That's going to help break down the seed coat, which is part of the process. I'm going to take my strainer here and put it back on top of the pot, and then we'll take our seeds and pour them right down into that strainer. Yep, I can see why some of these didn't work. Bug had gotten to this one and pierced the seed coat already, so this is why this one was floating. But most of these, I think, are going to be okay. Now the next step, if you're following along on the University of Iowa webpage, suggests that you need to get a mixture of some peat moss and some sand. So hang on. I think I've got a little bit of sand left over. Let's go get some sand and get it into this cup. I'll be right back with you. Okay, I went out and I got a little bit of that sand. Had some snow mixed in with it, so it's moistened. Isn't that nice? Boy. All right, so we'll just take some of this peat moss, which I've already treated with boiling water to kill off fungus gnats. We'll just mix the two of those together in the cup. Once you got this mixed up, I'm going to make sure that it's moist enough. So I'm just going to spray a little bit of water in here, a little extra water, make sure it's moist enough, because we want the seed coats to continue to absorb moisture while they're in the refrigerator, going through the next stage of our process, which is stratification. We'll take a bit. Let's put this over here to the side here. And take a bit of our mix and put it on the top of the lid. So we'll have it to cover our seeds with. So there we go. Got about half of it in the bottom of the cup, half of it in the lid, and then we'll take our seeds that we've boiled and drop them on in there. I think that's all of them. So now we've got them distributed across the mixture in the bottom of the cup here. And we're just going to cover them up some more of that mix of sand and moistened peat moss. I'm going to press it down so it's firm all the way around. So we have good contact between our starting mix and the seeds that are in there. All right. And give it one more good spray down. We want it good and moist. Okay. So now we're going to take a lid, which I've already perforated with holes. See the holes here in the lid? Show a little long. Holes in the lid. 4 little air holes. We'll just put that on the top of the container. And this goes in the bottom of the refrigerator where it's going to stay cool but not freezing for 5 to 8 weeks. 5 to 8 weeks from today, which is the 16th of February, will take us right about the time to get started planting things, and we'll be ready to get these redbud seeds started. We'll try to grow some trees this year. Well, hey, good people, that's how we go about scarifying and stratifying redbud seeds in preparation for getting them to germinate in the spring. That's all I've got for you today, good people. If you found the video informative or entertaining, you know what to do. I will catch you next time.